welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Demon Second Series, Issue 2 by DC. Now, there is fighting, magic, and demons in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, first thing I gotta show you, this is really funny. I think it says on top here, book 4 of 4. And, well, obviously this is issue 2, but it says the same on the 4th issue. And it caused me such a confusion today. I'm like, ah, shit, did I pick up the wrong one? And then I looked at both of them and opened the first page just to make sure they weren't the same. I was like, what the hell? I mean, how did no one notice this is what I don't get. I mean, did they finish the whole series and then just started publishing one after the other? How come no one noticed? It's the same on my comic shop. What, no one in DC noticed this mistake later on? I guess they wouldn't republish it, but still. I mean, for such a short series, it's just funny. You see the book 4 of 4. Anyway, I just had to mention that because I know later I'll probably forget. Alright, so when we left off, Jason Blood and Glenda in issue 1. And we left in issue 1, they went to Ireland, and they flew to Ireland to find the Book of Belial. And they went underground in this place, and they found it, but then a Strangler demon appeared, just when they thought they would easily pick up the book and go, and attacked Glenda, and was strangling her. So Jason had no choice but to say the words in order so Etrigan will take over. So we started this issue, that's where we ended. We start this issue, we're back with Merlin and our narrator, the one that speaks to Merlin, whoever he is. He's again talking to him. There's no real clue on who he is, but from that first page it almost sounds like this has all happened before. And he's just, I don't know, retelling this to Merlin, wherever Merlin is. Because he says, watching the past is not really so great. So it's interesting. He's basically retelling him of what happened in the previous issue to Merlin. Well, in this case, it's for our benefit, because I imagine this will come week after week. But, yes, he's retelling what happened in the last one to Merlin, still talking to him. Merlin is wherever he is. He's got those thorns all in him, as the narrator calls him, pincushion. Yeah, he looks like he's a pincushion. Then we go to Etrigan. He's turned, and now he's jumping on the Strangler and starts fighting him. Glenda is released and is able to breathe. Finally. He keeps fighting him. The narrator keeps talking about, his fighting and the Strangler demon, and how Strangler demons are strong and tough, but also really stupid. Because their one technique is just to try to strangle you. That's all they attempt to do, but Etrigan's obviously far more cunning and smarter. So Etrigan is fighting him. The Strangler demon can basically switch his arms, and even if you're behind him, he can grab you with his hands and strangle you. Tries to do that, but Etrigan defeats him. He grabs him, talks in rhymes, and then he spits fire at him, pushing him away, but he falls on this little altar where the book is, and basically the book burns with him. And Glenda's like, no, the book. And then she's very nervous because she's facing Etrigan. But Etrigan isn't going to do anything to her because he needs her. He needs to find these answers so he and Jason Blood may be free of each other. So then he leaves her another clue on where to look, and that's it. He changes back, and it changes back. Jason Blood is back now. In the last issue, the Strangler Demon threw him, so he broke his ribs, but Etrigan has left him healed. He healed his ribs before. Now, where did he tell him to go? He said the other copy is in the British Museum. There we go. So that's it. They need to go then to the British Museum in order to get the other book. And then the narrator says how Belial basically hid one book like below in Ireland in the depths, and then the other one like right under people's noses. So they go to the British Museum, but the man they go to talk to is claiming, tells them this book isn't here. I'm sure of it. You know, and 120 years ago, it was burned in electric fire. You know, those old electric lines were flimsy. And he says there's only like a list of people that are allowed in, and it would take you weeks to get approved by the board. So Jason's like, thank you, and he and Glenda leave. Jason Blood has quite the reputation. So Jason has been to the British Museum 120 years ago, and he says there's basically kind of a similar magic, the one that prevents him from seeing, Belial and all that. It kind of the same works on the book. So these people, the book is there, but they don't know it. They are also partially blind to it. So he says they have no choice. They have to get back there at nighttime to get the book. And Glenda's like, oh, I don't know, Jason. And he said, not you. He doesn't mean her. He means him and Etrigan are going to come back at night. And so they do. Glenda's in the hotel, wherever it is they're staying, back there. And Jason goes into the museum, and I don't know, he kind of does like this blind pantomime act almost. Like he's walking in a very sort of twitchy way. And I think maybe he's performing some magic or something. Because he goes in, the guard is asleep. He goes in and keeps walking all weird like that. And Etrigan basically told him that the way to get the book, he needs a blood sacrifice, basically. So he keeps walking like that. And he uses a staircase. He uses a ladder, not a staircase, to get up to some shelves. And then he scratches himself, sucks the blood, and then spits it at the wall. And that wall is kind of fake. And behind it are all the things that Belial has hidden from people. So Jason spits at it, and the book comes out, and he grabs it. And the narrator says, how many secrets there are probably, behind that wall, all those items and everything. But people don't know and never will, because Jason's quite anxious to get the book. And, Etrigan couldn't care less about this shit. So that's that. He gets the book, and when he leaves with it, he's not exactly holding it. Like he's kind of holding it. If you hear any talking, it's my grandma. He's kind of holding it, but it's like a bit away from his hand. So again, I think he's using some sort of magic. So he leaves the British Museum, and that's it. He's back in the hotel with Glenda. So the book is in German, but Jason knows German, so he translates and reads it to Glenda, because to him it might not mean anything because of the spell, but maybe she'll infer something from it. So for 5 hours, as the narrator tells us, they just sit and read that book. But nothing is really in it. It seems to help. The only kind of clue is maybe My Kind. Belial wrote that book, and he liked his melodramas, as our narrator tells us. So they get to the end of the book, and there is nothing there. And Glenda's like, I'm not an expert in these things. Maybe we can ask your other friends to help. And Jason's like, no, I won't involve them. And then Glenda's like, what if we summon Etrigan again? And he says, no, thank you. But then Glenda pulls out the Philosopher's Stone. And our narrator points out that, she's like you. She started young. He says she's not very good at this stuff, but looks like she has a natural talent. So she has this idea. Jason's going to start changing, and then she'll try to hold Etrigan there. And if that works, then they can talk to him. So Jason sits down on the chair in front of her. And then he begins to change. And Glenda uses because the Philosopher's Stones is Merlin. And Etrigan is Merlin's servant, so it should be able to, affect him as well. So she does that, he begins to change. She tries to get Etrigan to talk, but he's fighting her. And she tries to hold him there, and he does sort of say something, but I don't think there's any real clue there. And then that's it. He disappears, and Glenda's like, no, Etrigan. And then Jason's passed out on the chair. So Glenda gets up and is like, oh, fuck, the feeling of despair. And then our narrator starts to tell us about, the feeling of despair, how demons can smell it, and how it smells like. I forgot what he said it smells like. Anyway, he says that, and then he says, but fear tastes like peaches, and what did he say it was? Peaches in, spine fluid or something like that. And he's telling Merlin, hey, don't look at me like that. I was just trying to describe it to you as well as I could for your human language. So yeah, as he says this, a demon comes out of the mirror. A blue one this time. I don't think, it's not really described as anything, but yeah, he comes out and he grabs Glenda, and then he goes for the book of Belial. She tries to stop him, but then he slaps her and throws her over his shoulder. But then Glenda begins reciting the words again, and Etrigan appears. And then he starts fighting this demon. Glenda is released as he throws her away. And then he fights him. And, fights him really well. Now, this demon does have some acid in its mouth, which he shoots at Etrigan. But Etrigan, of course, is much quicker and much stronger, and is able to hold the fire. And then, let's say whoever this narrator is, he might also be a demon. Because he says how once it was just, mere days after Etrigan crawled out of his mother, that he and Belial grabbed him with some silk snake rope. And, in the process, our narrator got his ear bitten off, but they tied Etrigan over the pits of fire for a few years, and he thinks that affected, how good he is at, solving problems and being a good, really talented demon. I mean, I suppose it'll inspire you some problem-solving skills for sure. So, yeah, he tells us that now Etrigan defeats that that demon, but while he's defeating it, another one, Glenda really shouldn't have stood next to the mirror, because she goes backward towards the mirror because she's thinking, oh shit, Etrigan's here, what do I do? But then the more demon arms, I should say, come out of the mirror and grab her. And she's gone. And then Etrigan turns around. You say, I was happy too soon. Now I need this woman's help. So then he, I don't know, he says more stuff and then he turns, and Jason Blood is back. And then Jason's looking at the mirror, and I think Etrigan's the one that left him a message there. That, but before this whole started with the mirror, our narrator says, they thought that it would take long for Belial to realize that his book has been moved. And he's the one who sent the demons. And then you got Jason there, standing. We see what was written in the mirror. And Jason says, 1 second, please. Come on. 1 moment, please. Jason says Belial. As he understands that Etrigan meant that Belial is the one that has Glenda. And that's it. That's where the issue ends. Okay, so first cover, like I said, all the covers have the same theme of a circle. I got the circle here. And then all of them is basically Etrigan in the center in some way. This is him like jumping in those caves that they are in. Well, at least for a few more pages. In the beginning, I mean. Well, that's him. Again, you got this. I'm pretty certain that this might be some kind of photo, like around it or something. But regardless, I do like it. I think the color is good. And Etrigan looks pretty cool there. Well, let me show you a few pages of art. Alright, as we begin with our recap, you see Merlin. You see he's got the... Oh yeah, another thing, Merlin is trapped because the narrator talks about, Jason and how he and Etrigan have been like that for so many centuries. And Merlin, wherever he currently is, he's been locked there for like 5 weeks. And he's lucky that he has the narrator to talk at him. Interesting. I wonder where Merlin exactly is. You see he's fighting the Strangler. There's Glenda. There you see. I said in the last series, you see Etrigan's kind of, skinnier here, if you will. Not his usual big, bulky self. I mean, it's not Hulk level, but his upper body's a lot bulkier. And here, not particularly. Okay, now for our story. An interesting continuation from issue 1. Here we're now going towards, hopefully finding out what the hell's going on. I'm starting to wonder if this is all like being told to us and this has already happened. And we're just going through it and this is how Merlin ends up where he is. It's interesting, 'cause I have no idea. I don't know if in the second series they do mention that Merlin and Etrigan are, half-brothers, I should say. I'm just wondering if that's mentioned, and I wonder how he even became Merlin's servant, because he is a demon. Well, Merlin actually is also a part demon. I don't know if I mentioned that last time, but he is. So yeah, now Jason has to, I imagine, go to hell, to Belial's realm, in order to get Glenda back. But I wonder what then. I imagine he's not going to get any solution to his problem, obviously, in such a short series. Because there's only 2 more issues left, and, well, is he even gonna... I hope he'll manage to save Glenda, and we also find out, where Merlin is, what's going on. And why can't he see what's in that book? And maybe, I wonder, does this maybe imply that Etrigan doesn't know who his father is? Because Glenda says, he looks like Belial. Huh, interesting. But so far, I'm really enjoying this one. I do wonder, though, why the second series is so short. But it is possible that just all of this has appeared in some other series, maybe. Where Jason Blood was there, but it wasn't necessarily this one. Or maybe they just continued whatever was in the first series. I don't know. I wish I did. I really like Etrigan and Jason Blood. I find, both of them very interesting. And I do love demons. Ted's left to be seen. Jason, in this case, Etrigan be able to save Glenda. Because the book stayed. The demon didn't get the book in Merlin's stone, the Philosopher's Stone, so I guess this means he's going to have to go and trade the book for Glenda. But then I wonder, it kind of bring them to Belial, and then wouldn't he see that that's his father? Or find out? I'm very curious about that. Oh, it's a family of demons. There'll be no real, happy, tearful reunions. There'll definitely be some fighting. I'm looking forward to that, if it will be. That's about it. So far, I'm enjoying this series. I love the art. And I still fucking find this funny that it's like, you see, book 4 of 4. How did no one notice? Like, before they printed, no one looked at this and thought, I think we're gonna have to fix that. It was just hilarious. That was the kind of, if you just look at the title, confusing, because you're like, oh, wait, shit. And I swear today I thought, oh, man, I have the same issue twice, but wait, there are no... there's no other covers for this, so how's that possible? This is a funny moment. You should have been there. Alright, folks, so that is it. Let me know what you thought of the Demons second series issue 2. And remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!